Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Stellar Studio Sessions. My name is Richie Mashiko.
And my name is Chay Land.
And today we're going to be talking about the business of design. So Chay, what is the business of design?
The business of design is ultimately the user experience of either a product, website, or app. And it's really important that you include it into anything you do. You can't separate the user experience and design anymore. It has to be one and the same.
Right. So that's kind of a high level way of looking at it. So let's break it down. So what's like the first thing that people should consider when design and how to integrate that into their business?
So I think it starts with knowing your audience and your audience pain points. Because once you know that, you're able to address what they're looking for, and it makes you more interesting to them.
Right. And so knowing your audience in terms of demographic, what they're looking for, how you can solve their problems.
Exactly.
All these different things where you want to basically make a solution that's just right for them, right?
Exactly. And structuring your product or whatever you're doing in the right way to convey that message to them quickly.
Right. Okay. So if you've done that right, you know your audience, you know their pain points, you know how you're going to try to approach and to solve their solution or to solve their problem to create that solution. So what's next?
So what's next is looking at your competitors to see what they're doing well and what they're not doing well, and finding your white space or the gap in what your customers aren't being offered. So it's like really doing your research and understanding that and how to best leverage that information.
Right, and I know we talked about a little bit of how you could differentiate yourself from competitors, right? So that could be brand, that could be certain features, right? If you have a lot of competitors and each of them are doing a certain thing well, but not just packaging the whole thing up, then that's something that you maybe that's the thing that makes you different is you take all the best features of what you see in the market and incorporate that into one solution that's just that much better, right?
Exactly. And that's a lot of what the experience is. It's knowing all those things and then ultimately creating a roadmap to follow, and then make either a business strategy to push it out into the world that way, or it's structure a website in a particular way.
Right. Because I think one of the things that we talk about a lot is setting those objectives and knowing what you want to achieve, and then reverse engineering that.
Yeah.
And so how you structure it, right? The structure of your site or your product, whatever it is, to create that experience that's really going to solve the customer's problem and make them feel good about themselves.
Exactly. So I guess a tip that I would suggest in putting more of your user experience or the business into the design aspect is keep those goals in mind. Maybe actually write them down and then hand them to your designer. And it's like, so everything that the designer does, they keep your top 3 goals in mind, and everything that they do has to have reasoning that backs that up.
Right. So like keeping those top goals in mind is having that North Star, right? So I think that's something really important that you could do, not just with the design, but integrate that throughout your entire business, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're a small company or you're just trying to grow, to focus on this maybe 1 to 3 things that are going to be really good indicators of growth or your objectives, and just drill down on that and keep it simple, right?
Exactly.
And I guess how you could incorporate that into the design is like you look at those outcomes and you say, and you think to yourself, is what I'm designing, are they contributing to those outcomes? Is it neutral? Is it not going to really matter, or is it going to inhibit those outcomes, right?
I think it's a good way to measure the success of your design ultimately is that you're kind of, you have those goals, you have your audience, you know what your competitors are doing. You're creating that groundwork to kind of have a soundboard to base your new ideas and assumptions off of and see whether or not they'll work or not. It's I think it's very important to measure your success by having those small things to do your design with.
Right. I think that maybe that's another really good important point that we should talk about is that when you design things, making sure things are testable, right? And making sure things you could experiment on and say, are these getting results or is this not getting result, right?
Yeah.
And I know today there's so much data out in the world, and data is super easy to come by. So it's really that combination of the art and the science behind it, right?
Yeah.
And you could make those data-driven decisions about your design, right? And I think that's just a really good way, or something really good that people should keep in mind, right? Making sure that your design is testable, A/B test, whatever those metrics are, and like we said, have that North Star and measure against those top goals that you have.
Yeah. Because without that structure, you're not going to be able to measure anything. You don't know if you're getting anywhere, and you might have just wasted a bunch of time in your putting design in your product without these goals in mind.
Right, exactly. So I think that pretty much does it for the business of design. Is there anything that you want to add? Or you think we hit on everything? Maybe you want to tell the people a tip or a little insight that you have about the business of design?
So I think a little recap will do justice. So understand your audience, understand their pain points, know what your competitors are doing and how to best use that information, create a roadmap for what you're trying to achieve. So wireframes are also very helpful. And then define your own way to measure your success.
Right. I think that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you so much for doing this the last 5 episodes of Branding and Design. We hope you guys got something out of it that you guys could apply to your own business or whatever your personal brand, whatever it is. And I think we'll see you guys on the next episode of the Stellar Studio Sessions. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And don't forget to rate and review, all that good stuff. Follow us on Instagram at Stellar Agency. And we'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Stellar Studio Sessions. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button. And if you want to learn more about digital strategy, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.